Okay, today we're gonna make a graphic similar to this one. Let's get it. Okay, the first thing we're gonna do is open up Photoshop. And you're gonna go to File, New, and I'll bring up this image here. And I like to do export my images at 1080 by 1350. So I like to double that and then export it down. Make sure your resolution is at least 72, but I like to just do 300. And I'm gonna hit create. Now what we're gonna do is import the reference image, File, Place Embedded. This image here. Hit enter. And first things first, we're going to make the Bills versus the Chiefs this week and the AFC Championship game. It's going to be a good one. So first thing we're going to do is try to create the background here. Looks like they got a picture of the stadium. And then it's just like set on like a blue color background. All right, so what we're going to do is try a red one. I'm going to go to solid color. I'm going to select red. Red. All right. And now they had like a stadium or a picture of the stadium here in the background. So I'm gonna try to import one from Arrowhead because that's where it's gonna be played at. All right. Now what we're gonna do to this image is Command Shift A. It's gonna bring it to the camera raw. And in here we're going to raise up the shadows, go to the effects. We're gonna raise up the clarity, go to color, and we're gonna make that black and white. Drop the saturation down. Now we're gonna hit OK. Drag this to the top here. Command T so I can scale it up or down. Let's scale this a little bit bigger. For now, just leave it right here. All right. Then we go to our blend layers. And I'm liking one of these hard light, I think. It's looking good for right this second. We can always go back and adjust the blend mode. All right. And now on that layer, we're gonna put a mask. And then we're gonna hit G. For the gradient tool, we're gonna make sure we got the black to transparent. And then on the mask with the gradient tool and the black color, which will take an image away, we're going to fade it on. All right. And then I might even drop the opacity a bit. Okay. So we got that so far. I'm actually going to maybe scale this up just a little bit more. Then I'm going to select these two and hit Command G. Then I'll group them together. I'm going to call that design so I can compare between the two here. All right, so next we're going to do this like little box where this is going to be displayed. So we'll work on that next. And then there's this kind of like a little bit darker shade of blue. So maybe we'll try the darker shade of red. So we're gonna hit U so we can select and make a box. We're gonna make our fill. We'll just start right here like a darker red. See what happens. Create a new layer. And then I just hit the design here so I can kind of get the same shape and size of the box. We'll take that outside the design so we can see it. Get this a little bit more because we're gonna fade that off. Put that back into the design folder. Okay, I'll make that a little darker. I'm gonna select the rectangle, then hit the fill here. And we're gonna hit this the rainbow color here, and we're gonna just drag it darker. And hit OK. Yeah, it looks better. All right, so with the rectangle, we're going to make the mask. We're gonna hit G to get the gradient tool, make sure it's black to transparent, and we're just gonna fade it down. We're gonna fade it down a little more so you can't really see the edge there at the top. All right, next we're gonna import the players. Okay, once we got our players imported, I already cut mine out. You can Google search players cut out and you can find just about any player that you want. I do have a video that I showed how I cut out the players. I'll leave up there at the top. But once you get your players imported, you're gonna wanna, roughly position them kind of in the same position that these players were. But the next step that we're going to do is we'll start with Patrick Mahomes. You want to make sure that you right click and make sure that your cutout is converted to a smart object. Once you know it's a smart object, you can Command Shift A, and that'll bring up the camera raw. And you can make adjustments to your image there. I already did that with this particular image. So I'll do it with Josh right here. Command Shift A. What we're gonna do is raise the highlight or the shadows, raise the contrast. I'm gonna lower the blacks, and then we're gonna go to the effects, and we're gonna raise clarity. And a little dehaze. Then I'm gonna hit OK. All right. We might adjust the position later on. All right, it's moving along. We'll do the same thing. Command Shift A. I'm gonna raise our shadows. The contrast. Go to Effects. Raise the clarity. Dehaze. Drop that down. All right. Hit OK. All right, and then you go on and you do that for all the players that you have selected. And once you do that, we'll come back and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, next we're going to, after you've done that to the players, made your adjustments, what we're going to do is put a mask on everyone except for the running backs in the front. These two images here. But the rest we're going to put a mask. Get the gradient tool. Make sure it's black to transparent. And make sure you put the mask on the right person. And we'll just fade that on there. Right around there for the second. And we'll do the same thing with this image. Put the mask on. Gradient tool. Make sure it's black to white or black to transparent. And just fade it on there. Right. And do the same thing. Blend it on there. All right, now just do that for the Kelsey image. All right. So we have so far. Also, we want to put the Allen image and Mahomes image behind the rectangle. All right. And in the rectangle, we're even going to drop the opacity down a little bit. There you go. Now, the next thing we're going to do is probably load in some of these logos. I've made the logos previously, and I'll most likely have a link in the description where you can download the ones that I used. If you want me to make a video about how to make Chrome logos, just leave a comment. But next thing we're going to do is we're going to import these Chrome logos that I had designed. They're not exactly the same as these, but they're, you know, something that I liked. So, File, Place Embedded, and have the Chrome bills. All right. Okay, so what we're gonna do is try to make the logos roughly the same size as we got here. All right, something like that. Okay, we'll drag ours back down into the design. All right. Next thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna move Shakir over a tad. Right there. And we're gonna move this image over. Okay. Now I'm going to on the arrowhead image back here, I'm gonna kind of blur it out so it kind of looks like it's like in the background and we're more focused on right here. So then I'm gonna select the arrowhead image and we're gonna go up to the filter. We're gonna go to blur and the Gaussian blur. And I'm thinking about 4 will be good. Okay. Now, once you get there, we'll move on to the next step. Next, we're going to add some of the font and the text. So we'll do the back here. We'll start with these. So the first one, we'll do the buffalo side. Just T on your keyboard, or you can select the text tool over here. Select anywhere, and I'm gonna write buffalo. All right, we're gonna make it bigger. Okay, we're gonna want that right above like the arrowhead, or you could even put it right above our main background red there. All right. So now we just need to find a good text for it. I usually like this Den. I searched online, just downloaded it for free. But I really like that. We can mess with it here and try to make it a little bolder. All right, then we're gonna Command T. If you hold Shift, it'll rotate it and you get perfect 90 degrees. Get it over here. Command T again. I'm gonna make this just a little. If you hold Shift, you can just drag it up or drag it out. All right. That's the buffalo one. And I'm going to drop the opacity down. So it's just in the background there. Man, that might just be a little too solid or too thick of a font. Let's just go down to regular bold. It looks a little better. Okay, so we're just gonna Command J and copy that. I'm gonna drag that over. And we're just gonna double click, change that to Kansas. Okay, next we're going to put a mask on the buffalo and the Kansas parts right here. And we're just gonna fade those from the top. So you got your gradient. Just fade that down. All right, and then if you hold Option, click the mask, drag down, it'll copy that to the same thing as the other side. Okay. Now we're gonna add in like this type of text right here. Press T, or you can select it over here. And I'm just going to write AFC Championship game. All right. I'm gonna drag that to the top here. And we're gonna need to shrink that. Okay, we got thin bold. I'm gonna go to maybe just regular. All right. And as you see in this design, it's kind of spread out. So we're gonna spread that out. And then we'll shrink this text back down. If you go here, you can select selection or canvas. And if you select the canvas, it'll just put it in the middle here. I might change that to black. Maybe like a dark red. All right. Then we're gonna try to put, I said Kansas City and Buffalo. So, because it's basically written in the same style of font, I'm just gonna copy that, Command J. And I'll just drag that down a little for a moment. I'm just gonna write Buffalo. Change that to white. Command T, and if you hold Shift, you can turn 90 degrees. I think we should just spread that out a little more. All right, and we'll hit Command J. All right, Kansas City. I'll drag that one over. Okay, starting to come together. All right, so next we're going to put this right here. And the game's going to be Sunday, January 26th. So we're going to need our text tool, hit T. And we're just going to do Sunday. Make sure that's in the front. January 26th. Okay, we're going to spread that out a little. And we're going to make that just regular. Okay, the game's going to be at 6:30. So we'll just Command J, drop that down, double click that, 6:30. And Command J will drop that down, move it down again. And this time it'll be GEHA Field at Arrowhead Stadium. All right, we're make that text look a little more feasible. So we're just going to shrink that down in size. And we're going to make that be a little lighter. Maybe even make it come together a little bit more. All right, then we're just going to grab all that text there, all the way down to the Arrowhead Stadium, Command T, and we're just going to shrink that down even a little bit more. Let's put it right in the middle. All right. Lastly, we're going to do the verse. BS. We're gonna bring that together. All right. Once you get there, we'll move on to the next steps. Okay, next we're going to fix the sizes of some of these fonts here. This middle one here, I'm gonna shrink that down. And we'll put that in the middle. All right, and then these Kansas City and these Buffalo ones here on the side, I'm gonna shrink those down. Right around there. Okay, next, you can just do a Google search of brushes, of smoke brushes or fog brushes. There'll be a bunch of downloads for them. There's a couple that I liked here. So select B, and then you can go to your brushes here, and you can select different forms of them. Basically, your normal brushes, the soft, the hard, round. But here's some that I downloaded. And there's just one that I like in particular. So I'm gonna get the brush tool, and I'm gonna right click, and then from here you can rotate this, and that's where how the brush is gonna lay and overlay on it. Okay, and making sure I have the white color selected, I'm gonna select a new layer, and then I'm just gonna click once here. All right, and then I'm just gonna label that front smoke. I'm gonna lower the opacity to that. All right, now I'm gonna go all the way down to our main back red layer. I'm gonna make a new layer there. I'm gonna hit B. I'm gonna right click, and then I'm gonna select one of these other ones that I have here. Just random. I'm gonna try to add some more to each side here. All right. Okay, and then on that layer, we're gonna name back smoke, because it's in the background, and we're gonna lower that opacity as well. We're going to add some shadows on their feet. So we hit the brush tool again. This time we're gonna go back to just our normal brushes. We want the hardness to be soft. We want our flow to be maybe 13 to 15%. Right click, and we're gonna make this like ground level. And with the brackets, you can shrink or enlarge in that. All right. Make sure black is selected. And you want to find the front image there. Make a new layer underneath it. Name this shadow, Cook Shadow. And make it bigger, just click like this. All right, we're gonna do the same thing over here. We're gonna make a new layer. We'll call this pack shadow. And what you can do is get your selector tool over here, and you want to select these two and link them together. So when you do move them or size them differently, they'll be together, linked together. Now, what I'd like to do next is put a gradient map over the top of it. Just a black and white one here. And we're going to find a good blend mode here. Like soft light in this instant. And what we're gonna do is drop the opacity down to 0. And then we're gonna raise it so we can just add a touch of it. And what I like to do with that is just kind of level out the whites and blacks, bring them together. Let's try something different. Let's try putting a Lamar Hunt trophy here. Under that, we're going to make a new layer, hit B, get our brush. Okay, once you get there, we'll move on to the final touches. Next, we're going to try to add the finishing touches here and finish this up. I'm going to place a lens flare. And I'm going to go to screen. Command T. We're going to bring that down. And we're going to bring that right here. That shine on the buffalo. All right. All right. Then we're call that flare 1. Command J. Drop it down. We'll call that flare 2. And we're gonna move this one over to the Kansas City side. I'm gonna drop the opacity to both of those. All right, Command J one more time. We're gonna go down to Flare 3 and let's give the trophy some bling. I like that one stand out just a tad more. And with this style, font here, I'm gonna write Lamar Hunt Trophy under here. All right, we're just gonna shrink that down. Maybe bring that a little closer together. All right. Now next we're gonna add a curve. Drag this down so you can see. Be sort of like an S curve. All right. Now, next thing we're going to do, add another gradient map on top of that. And I like to do an orange teal. Kind of look, and then you head over to the blending modes. And I'm gonna do screen. We're gonna drop the opacity down. And then we're gonna bring it back in. Okay, and one of the last things you can do is add exposure. You try to do it to the whole picture. See if we can do it that way. All right, we want to make it kind of bright and kind of dark. Here we go. Then we're going to Command I. I'm going to get a brush tool. We're going to make sure the hardness is at 0. Flows around 15%. That works. Maybe go a little harder than that. How about 30 something? And then where the highlights are, you just now want to brush. You want to make sure you're on the white color here. That would wreck. And do that on all the images. But you get the drift. After you finish doing that, it's pretty much good to go. Like, subscribe, and share. I appreciate it. Hopefully the Bills can pull this off and head to the Super Bowl, and we're making another one, a Super Bowl one. So go Bills.